This is a DM's guide for Axe from the Grave, which is from Keys from the Golden Vault. I see it as a video version of your prep to watch before you run it after reading the book. The famed Bard of Toadhop, Froderick Darkwild, was an adventurer once with a Knaith mandolin, an instrument of the bard's which he liked to call his golden axe. I'll link at the end to my YouTube short about it. Frody and his adventuring party were eventually killed by manticores. He was buried along with his own mandolin. News of Frody's passing made it to the ears of a tiefling named Scythian Skaldarang, who runs a music school with financial troubles. Now, Scythian himself is actually mediocre as a musician, even though his family threw loads of money at him to be better. On a side note, he has been blessed by the demon Grast. Now, Scythian hired Mackerel and Trout, a pair of halflings, to go and retrieve the magic mandolin, which they did. After them leaving, Frody awakened as an undead with unfinished business, and he made his way to his old family home. Scaring away the new owners, all he wants is his instrument back. Get the players to Frody's cabin. You'll find 4 youths near it who dare go in, as the cabin itself reeks of decomposition. Flies buzz around the animated corpse with yellow eyes, which is Frody. Frody introduces himself and he's friendly and he just wants his instrument back. He says when he was dead, he heard the names Mackerel and Trout in local accents. That mandolin was a gift. Now, Mackerel and Trout are well known in town as sellers of crayfish and frogs. Toadhop itself has 2 taverns, a nicer one called My Left Boot and a more run-down one called Misty's Bunks. If you wish, you can show them the town mayor, who is actually a pig, but it's of very little importance. The grave robbers themselves live 5 miles out of town in a hut on stilts by a river. Get the players there and they will find one of them fishing in the river and another one feeding a mule carrots. These idiots don't even know they woke the dead, and that will actually terrify them into telling all the information the players need, really, including that they only did it for 20 gold pieces. They were hired by Scythian Skaldarang, and they used to work for his parents in the orchards, picking fruit until the orchard was overcome with a weird disease. And then their employers died too. Now, Scythian, the son of their employers, has debts and he wants to get the instrument and give it to a pupil of his called Wily Van Timmel. Now, in this adventure, there's normally a crudely drawn map, but here the halfling duo actually use the sand in the riverbank bed to make a crudely formed sandcastle 3D rendering. It has 4 floors, a skylight on the roof, and there's a magical elevator within. Also, Scythian is terrified of frogs and toads and the like, and they'll say that he carries a master key to all the rooms around his neck, as does the housekeeper, Vordel, a human. The pair might hint that frogs can be caught around the riverbank here. Also, there's a tiefling called Josta Marit, who has red skin and yellow horns and a smoky voice, who you can sometimes find painting the portraits of the musical students. He showed up just after the orchard died. We saw him talking to a green-skinned little demon, didn't we? Yeah, and then he disappeared right in front of us. I can't believe that these days I do voices badly on YouTube in front of you. Scythian knows that Josta is an incubus, but believes it will give him great power if he does what he says, which is to collect rich, prestigious families into some sort of coven, I suppose. The school itself currently has 4 students. Wily, the human, who plays the strings. Embry, a human horn player and composer. Mazia, a tiefling who plays the flute. And Mitchell, a human who plays harpsichord and drums. Only Wily hasn't seen the mandolin be delivered to Scythian by these halflings. Use noble stats for the students if you need. Now, we are given a schedule of activity at the conservatory, which hints at ways of being able to gain entry or at least contract with some people there, using disguise spells or fakery and lying of some sort of way. But approaching the building and the orchard, they will see the dead orchard itself is corrupted by some sort of black goo. This is Demonica from the 9 Hells. Demonica has details in Descent into Avernus. It's basically the remains of a demon when it dies. It seems like its flesh-warping properties don't take effect on this plane, sadly, but hey, you're the DM. There's some craziness to be injected into this if you allow. The two house servants are Vordel, a 50-year-old human male with a ponytail, and Merle, an 83-year-old dwarf cook. If they simply ignore the no visitors sign, then they can get access, but they'll have to wait to meet with Scythian, who will be 2 levels of annoyed, depending on the time of day. If you find this helpful, please crit the like button. Conservatory, Area 1. This dining hall has portraits on the walls and a balcony of sorts above. Entry is gained to that by the caged elevator in the corner. Vordel, the housekeeper, is potentially here during the day. 2. Merle cooks in the kitchen, and when they bust in, arms herself with a rolling pin. 3. This is the servants' quarters, so beds. Foot lockers with personal artefacts in. Give them a smattering of coin, letters, family photos, a map to somewhere unknown, buried treasure maybe. An X marks the spot, but you don't have to know where it goes to. Let them hold on to that and then have it come up in a future adventure and make it look like you had a master plan all along. 4. Hunting trophies, including a stuffed wolf, as well as dotted paintings and some missing along this hallway. 3 quasits invisibly lurk here at night. Number 5. The door to the shrine is locked. It's a shrine that's now devoted to Grast. Most notably because there's a demonic stone hand coming out of the floor holding a brazier. You have to shed some blood to communicate with Grast. And if you're not one of his worshippers, he'll just use his answer phone message by sending 4 shadow demons to fight. 6. The creaky mezzanine has ropes to chandeliers over that dining room below. 7 is all the students' rooms. You can probably improvise what can be found on the fly, I would say. 8. This is just a shower. Normal shower. 9. This is Scythian's locked bathroom. You know, toilet, sink, shower. 10. A laundry room, because, you know, they live there, they change their clothes. Ah, the realism. Don't you just love it? 11 is a music hall full of musical instruments. Is this where the final battle will occur? It's up to you. Don't forget the 3 invisible quasits. 12. A stone battlement juts out from the building. They are now in reach of the chasme, which crawls from the ceiling. Stats at the end. 13. A hallway with a suit of armour in an alcove. Behind the suit of armour is a secret door. The door has a glyph of warding which causes shatter on the armour, crumbling it, using it as a noisy alarm. 14 is Scythian's study. Joster, the incubus, is usually here when Scythian is reading his mail. Is this where the final fight will occur? 15, Scythian's bedroom. If it's at night, he'll be asleep here. But the room is locked, and there is a chest with another glyph of warding. This one causes the suggestion spell. It suggests you get up, leave empty-handed, and go away for 8 hours. But inside is the Knaith mandolin. 16. It's an attic with sheets over old furniture, although there is something to be found, and that is a chest with 6 + 2 crossbow bolts. 17 is a locked door leading to an empty library. The books are sold, but there's another door locked at the other end to the rooftop. 18, the chasme dwells here, and doors to each of the towers also stand at the corners of the rooftop. The skylight is finely crafted, and there's a flagpole if you want to be inventive. So you decide when or even if you want Scythian to fight with Joster and whatever backup there is. Failing that, you've got the chasme, but bear in mind that noise around the house will alert the backup. Upon retrieving the mandolin, it's up to the DM, you, to think, have I given him a good enough battle yet, or do I throw the chasme they've not encountered? Failing that, throw in a Balgura as a surprise defence. You'll know better than I do by this time. Let me know what happened. With Frodi's instrument back, he performs a farewell performance and is laid to rest in a new, fresh coffin. Scythian is AC 15. His hit points on average are 99. He's resistant to fire. He is frightened of those frogs. I guess meaning that he will use all his movement to get away from them. He has 2 poison short sword or 2 poison dart attacks and then uses Whispers of Azagrat. Poison short sword is +5 to hit with 5 average piercing and then 5 poison if it's applicable. Very similar with the dart, +5 to hit, 4 piercing plus 5 poison. He can cast Unseen Servant. Fairy Fire, that's useful. Charm Person, worth a shot. And then the Whispers, a 15-foot cube originating from Scythian, makes a DC 14 Wisdom saving throw. The creature takes 18 psychic and is incapacitated, but only until the end of the player's next turn. A reaction, Fiendish Rebuke, 3 times in one day. When Scythian gets hit with an attack, he will force that creature to make a DC 14 con save. They will take 4d6 fire damage in retribution. Quasit is AC 13, 7 average health, immune to poison, has some resistances. It can polymorph into different beasts, advantage against spells and magical effects. If it's a beast, it will bite you a +4, 5 piercing damage, and you need a con save of 10 or you take 5 poison damage and you're poisoned for a minute. Scare once a day, chooses a creature, DC 10 wisdom save or you're frightened. Seeing the Quasit makes saving throws out of that condition have disadvantage. It can turn invisible. Shadow Demon AC 13, hit points 66. Flies, vulnerable to radiant like all these sorts of things should be. Immune to cold, lightning or poison. It can move through other creatures. Disadvantage in light. Can hide in darkness. +5 to attack, 10 psychic or potentially 17 psychic average damage. Chasme, AC 15, hit points 84 average. Resistant to cold, fire, lightning, immune to poison. Has a horrid droning sound. DC 12 con save or you fall unconscious for 10 minutes. Advantage against spells and other magical effects. Climbs where it wants. It's proboscis. +5, 16 piercing damage plus 24 necrotic damage. And the target's hit point maximum is drained by that amount. If you go down to 0, you're dead, not unconscious. And the potential Balgura Large Fiend Demon. AC 15, 68 health, speed 40 feet. Immune to poison but resistant to cold, fire, lightning. It can innately cast Entangle, Phantasmal Force, Disguise Self, and Invisibility. I like these going reckless. They get advantage on all melee attacks during that turn, but attacks against it have advantage too. It can do a massive jump. It makes 3 attacks. 1 bite, +7, 11 piercing, and 2 fists, +7, 9 bludgeoning. Thanks to my members for helping fund these guides, and thanks for sticking around till the end, so that I can fittingly perform a song for you.